You know, you probably use it dozens of times a day, and maybe you don't even realize it. We're talking about this crazy cool tech that lets our phones, our speakers, our computers understand us, speak our language, and in some ways, even think with us. So let's dive into what makes it all tick.
I mean, really, just stop and think about that for a second. You ask your phone about the weather, you dictate a text message, you ask it to translate something on the fly, and it just gets it. It feels like straight-up magic, right? But how can a machine, just a pile of circuits and code, possibly understand all the nuances, the slang, the sarcasm, the sheer beautiful mess that is human language?
Well, the answer is hiding in plain sight. It's all part of one single, powerful field of technology. It's the creative spark behind ChatGPT when you ask it to write a song. It's the listening ear in Siri and Google Assistant. It's the translation wizardry of Google Translate. And yep, it's the grammar cop in Grammarly that saves us all from embarrassing mistakes.
So yeah, all those tools, they're all powered by the same invisible engine. And in this first part, we're going to finally put a name to it and show you just how deep it runs in your day-to-day digital life. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. The customer service chatbot that helps you find your package, that's it. The spam filter that protects your inbox from total chaos, that's it too. When a news app gives you the gist of a long article or your phone finishes your sentences for you, you're seeing it in action. It's become totally fundamental to how we use technology.
Okay, so we've seen where this stuff lives and breathes. Now it's time to pull back the curtain and give this magic its proper name and a real definition.
And here it is, natural language processing, or just NLP for short. At its heart, it's a field of artificial intelligence with one huge goal: to bridge that massive gap between how we talk and how computers think. The idea is to teach machines not just to read our words, but to understand what they actually mean, to get the context, and even to create language that's helpful and coherent.
And why is this so important? Well, look at this number. An absolutely staggering 80% of all the data in the world isn't in nice, neat databases. It's just text. It's our emails, our social media posts, news stories, company reports, a gigantic ocean of human language. NLP is the key that finally lets us unlock all the insights hidden in that ocean. So, the big question is, how do you actually teach a computer to make sense of all this messy human stuff? Well, it isn't magic, it's a process. You can kind of think of it like a recipe, really. A series of steps you follow to turn raw, jumbled text into something a machine can actually learn from.
This recipe is called the NLP pipeline. First, you need ingredients. So step 1, you collect massive amounts of text data. Then, step 2, you have to prep everything, which means cleaning it all up, getting rid of typos and weird stuff. For step 3, the computer digs in and starts to find patterns. Those patterns become the foundation in step 4 to build and test an AI model. And finally, once it's working well, step 5 is to deploy it, put it out into the world and the apps we use every day. Now, to follow that recipe, developers aren't starting from scratch every single time. They have an entire toolkit filled with clever techniques and powerful software. And as you're about to see, the tools in that kit have gotten ridiculously sophisticated.
In the early days, the main approach was pretty much just counting words. You had these methods that basically treated a sentence like a literal bag of words. All they cared about was how often a word showed up. But today's methods, especially things like the transformer architecture that powers stuff like ChatGPT, they don't just count, they understand context. They can figure out that the word bank means two totally different things in riverbank and investment bank. And let me tell you, that leap from just counting to understanding context, that is everything.
And developers have some incredible power tools to work with. Things like NLTK and SPOSSy are like the Swiss Army knives for basic NLP tasks, chopping up sentences, tagging words. Then you have absolute game changers like Hugging Face, which is like a giant library of pre-trained models, and foundational platforms like TensorFlow that let them build those massive, context-aware systems we were just talking about. Which brings us to what's happening right now, and what's next. Because this field is not standing still, not even for a second. The next chapter in how we interact with technology is being written as we speak. What we're seeing today is just an explosion of new ideas. You've definitely heard of generative AI, which is driven by these massive things called large language models, or LLMs. This has created a whole new discipline called prompt engineering, which is basically the art of figuring out how to ask the AI the perfect question to get the best answer. At the same time, these models are getting fluent in hundreds of languages and can learn new tricks with just a few examples. It's wild. The big takeaway here is that this technology is now way beyond just being a cool feature on your phone. This is a truly world-changing force. In healthcare, it's finding patterns in patient records that doctors might miss. In business, it's analyzing thousands of customer reviews in seconds. In education, it's creating personalized tutors. It is truly fundamentally reshaping our world.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty mind-bending thought. We've spent all this time talking about teaching computers to understand our language. But as this tech gets better and better, we have to start asking, what happens when these systems actually understand the patterns and the deep connections in language even better than we do? What does that world even look like? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this one.